Identity is the governor of your life. It controls the temperatures on whether or not you're going to be hot or whether or not you're going to be cold. It is a unit that determines your successes or your failures. It then establishes in life whether or not you're going to be trapped or you're going to be free. Let's change that. I'm PD. I'm the identity strategist. Could you imagine living life if you could do that uninhibited? Well, that's what I do. I help you access that superpower that's within. And I help you to live life as the best version of you that you can be. I help you to live your A game 24/7. So let's do that. Let's journey this together. Let's go. I want to talk to you guys about a subject that is sore for a lot of people. This same subject is the reason why so many of us end up getting hurt day by day. And that is because what we believe or thought were friends that we had either today, yesterday, or the day before, that they're the same people that should be our friends today. Well, I remember years ago when this thought fell into my lap. I was sitting at the kitchen table at 3 a.m. one morning, and I specifically heard God speak to me, and he said, it's time to get up. He woke me up early that morning. Completely off subject. I mean, you ever wonder why 3 a.m. seemed to be such a popular moment for God to speak? Like that was the only time that he could speak? I mean, for real. It was that moment in time that I was like, God, I promise you that I'll be more attentive with a few more hours of sleep under my belt. But it didn't seem to happen that way. 3 a.m. seemed to be just the ticket that he wanted and needed. I mean, this season in itself became a constant 3 a.m. rendezvous between me and God. Now, understand, I'm not one that's ever really had a lot of friends. I'm very careful with the company that I keep. And I always considered myself to be like Jesus in the fact that he had the crowd, the multitude, the few, and then he had the two. At least I used to use that excuse a lot when I tried to justify the fact of the friends that I kept. I consistently used this excuse to justify the minimal friends list that I kept. That in itself, it ended up being its own struggles. But that morning at 3 a.m., God began to speak to me and impress into me the priority of the relationships in my life. The funny thing is that later that day, I remember reading an article by T.D. Jakes concerning the prioritization of people in our lives. And it was from there that I continued my research that day. This research eventually led to a full message that I preached one day on the same subject that I eventually called the 3c's that I want to share with you today. That's right. I want to take what at that time was probably about an hour and a half message and break it down into some simple steps in which it's probably going to be about a 10-minute message that I want to share with you today. See, I began to realize that when you do not understand the true purpose of the actual relationships that are in your life, so let me give you a little history. See, it was earlier in that morning that I had a dream, and in that dream, I was floating in midair, and I was climbing and excelling in altitude. There were people holding on to my feet while some were trying to pull me down back to earth, while some were just trying to hold on. And as I excelled in atmosphere, some of those same exact people fell off. And I remember that at some point in that dream, the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, as you climb in altitude, the atmosphere will change and not everybody will be able to go with you. They will not be able to breathe because of the thinner atmosphere. And I realized at the table that morning that God was trying to talk to me about the priority and the authority that I gave people and the relationships that I had in my life. See, we must simply understand who and why that person is even in our lives. And then the hardest thing in life to do is to decide who and what stays. And that simple formula is more imperative than we really think. Why do you think they say that a lot of us need to edit and take stock on our contact list? See, what we do is not understand that by making those decisions that we're simply making a crucial decision for our survival and our success. And before we can be successful at anything in life, we have to be a survivor. The problem is that too many of us are trying to go day by day and just survive. We're just trying to make it. And we're simply trying to hold on. When the truth is that by making that simple decision, we determine our success or even our survival rate. See, who and what we have in our lives, who we have in our circles can either feed us or drain us of our everyday energy that we need for life. Relationships are all about give or take, and they're all about intentionality. And so realize that we must be intentional about who and what we are connected with who we have in our lives on a day-to-day basis. So the first and foremost important person that we want in our lives is what many call the confidant. The confidant by Webster's dictionary defines a confidant as an intimate relationship, as one to whom secrets are entrusted. I get that definition, but I wanted to take it a step farther for not just mine, but for your understanding. See, what a confidant is the person who loves you unconditionally. And because you will have such a minimal amount, this person, you will probably be able to count on the amount of them on one hand, on 5 fingers. At least I realize that in my life. See, this person has your back regardless of any situation. They are not afraid to tell you the truth, and they're even not afraid to tell you when you're wrong. And that same person is not afraid to tell you when you're right. But I want you to remember that this type of friendship goes 2 ways. You can't just take and not give. See, the type of relationship will not last if you are just a leech and you don't return that same type of love back. But one of the things you have to understand is that you will not become who God has called you to be without this type of person in your life. The next friend or association in your life is what we call the constituent. They're probably a lot of them. They're going to have many in your life. And this relationship is definitely not as intimate as the confidant in your life. I mean, you'll be able to tell the confidant your deeper secrets without the fear of any retaliation. You know that this person, regardless of what's going on, regardless of the situation, that this person has your back. I call this type of friend your do or die friend. But back to the constituent, because you need to know this person as well, because this person is not for you. This person is not excited to see you excel in life. This person is not desiring for you to be the best version of yourself. He's not desiring you to be the man or woman that God created you to be. It simply doesn't matter to them. They don't really care. What they're out for is that as long as you're supporting and loving the same dream or their dream, or that they believe that you're out for them, they're there. They will walk alongside with you. They'll hold your hand when things get rough, just to, what I say, fake the funk. See, it stops right there though. That's where they give up. They're not really there to support you. That's all you get. So what I'm going to say is don't get discombobulated, because this type of person will abandon you in your time of need. And so if this has already happened to you, I'm going to tell you, don't get butthurt, because we've all been there before and we've all made that mistake. We've learned, we moved on. But it is this type of person that will leave you hanging and go lock arms with another person that better serves their purpose and needs that are for their life, for them. See, this person is not loyal at all. So don't get it all confused and expect them to be. That's the simple problem. We expect them to be loyal when they're really not. We expect them to be something that they're not. We get it all confused and expect this person to be someone that they're not, and then they stab us in the back. And because of that, we get frustrated and our feelings get hurt because we are clouded by how we see it. And sometimes that hurt can last a lifetime. So what you're going to need to understand is that that person was never in your life to be your confidant or your best friend. That person isn't there to love and support you. But the reason that they're there is because they believe that you and them were in for it for the same goal in life. But the moment that they found a better connection, the moment that they found someone that was all about them, let me tell you, they simply stepped out of the equation. And so that leads me to the final C in life, and that's the comrade of our lives. This type of person is definitely not for you. This person definitely doesn't have your back. And if you are not careful, this person will stab you in it at a moment's notice. This person is what I call an opportunist. They are against what you're against, and that's it. They don't care about anything else. This person's whole purpose for teaming up with you is not because they believe in you or because they are for what you're for or for the God-given destiny that's on your life. The only purpose is to fight the common enemy. So, I'm telling you, do not be confused by the close connection that you have with this camaraderie person in your life. They will only be with you until the end and until there's a victory of some sorts. They're there until the purpose is complete for them. So don't get it confused. Don't throw a wrench in your understanding, because this person is here for one specific reason and one specific purpose. See, T.D. Jakes once said that this type of person is like scaffolding. Do we all know what scaffolding is? Well, it gives support for a time, but the time only lasts for a specific time. And when that time has come, the scaffolding soon has to be removed. It means that the next phase or season of that building is moving to the next step. See, scaffolding is there for a purpose, and it's there while the rest of the building is being built. Scaffolding is simply a support system. It's a framework that provides support, and that is what the comrades in our lives represent. So what I want you to get out of this very deep but brief message is that you must prioritize the friends and relationships that you have in your life. And I need you to understand how imperative and how important it is for you to do so. Because if you don't, it can make your journey even longer than what it was intended to. See, the associations with confidants and constituents and comrades in our lives are not the same. You just have to simply expect that the two latter relationships, the constituent and comrades, are going to soon come to an end, and that at some time in your life, they're going to leave you. They're not there for the full long haul. Now, don't go to the extreme and say, well, it would just be easier for me to not have these two types of people in my life. I just want the confidant in my life. It's just so much easier if I do that and avoid those other two relationships. Yeah, it would, but that's not how life works. And you have to understand that there's a purpose and a role for each and every one of these relationships in our lives. The thing that we need to do is be careful and prioritize those relationships in our lives by knowing what position and role each of these specific relationships or people play on a day-to-day basis. We need to be careful on the authority that we give. So don't just be lackadaisical where you just share your dreams with anybody. We've all read the story of Joseph, and we see how that ended up. Not everybody cares. And I know that comment is rough, but it's true. And so in the long run, knowing the roles that each person plays will not just save us some serious heartache in our life, but can possibly take miles off of the journey that's ahead. See, it's beyond important for us to have a correct discernment and proper positioning of the relationships that we take stock of in our lives. Well, I really pray and hope that this helps. I'm Michael Samuels, and I'm the overseer of Infinite Ministries. Here we desire to build a garrison of soldiers for the Lord Jesus Christ. We do this with a team mentality to teach, equip, apply, and mentor through truth with a kingdom understanding. I would love to come and break this down for you a little bit more. give you more of an in-depth understanding. And even if you're just looking for a little bit more of information about me and my team, you can reach out and email us at info@infiniteministries.com. Well, we're on the radio, so I'll say it again. You can reach me and my team at info@infiniteministries.com. And per the chance that you missed the email and just didn't want to rewind and go back and get the email address off of each individual letter, I'm pretty sure that the team at Genesis can get you in touch with me. Well, I hope this helps. God bless. This is Michael Samuels, otherwise known as PD, and I'm out.